So, what is insomnia truly? I know that if you turn to the internet and you try and Google insomnia, all we really come up with is I guess, sleep disturbances or the inability to fall asleep or stay asleep. But I guess speaking from my own personal experience, I'm a recovered insomniac. I definitely try to like find a more specific solution or a more specific explanation of why this was actually happening. And if you turn to like resources online or maybe even like people around you who haven't experienced insomnia, it tends to be like, I guess, like different kinds of like explanations of like what insomnia truly is, which can be kind of conflicting, especially once you start coming into a place where you want to recover, because a huge part of recovery truly comes from understanding insomnia, what insomnia truly is. And some of the explanations that I used to like get around insomnia were like, oh, like you're burnt out, or oh, you're not like processing like the things that you're like living throughout your day during the day, and hence you are trying to process them at night, or you're, I don't know, maybe stressed out at the moment. There's just so many different reasons, and I do want to say that there is definitely like space for that, but I do want to distinguish that there is something that is insomnia, which I will touch on in a second, and then there's also sleeplessness or like sleep disturbances. Sleep disturbances meaning that perhaps it is like situational, like you have a lot going on at work and you experience like, I guess, not the best sleep because you do have quite a lot on your mind. But at the same time, like that is very different to like actually being fearful around sleep or like anxious around sleep itself. Or maybe like you have some kind of like sleep disturbance or you sleep next to someone who perhaps snores, hence you can't sleep. That is also very different again to insomnia. So if you are struggling with insomnia and you are looking for like a more concrete explanation for why you can't fall asleep or why you can't stay asleep, it is because you have perhaps had something that has triggered sleeplessness. That's always kind of like the initial trigger, but it then is actually like the response to that initial trigger that kind of like sends you into the cycle of insomnia, which is a cycle of hyperarousal, meaning a state of hypervigilance, which means that you are fearful of being awake when you should be asleep. So, to break it down, insomnia is truly like the fear of being awake when you should be asleep. Hence, you kind of like deploy your fight or flight response. Think of like anything else that you may have been afraid of, like in other aspects of life, and that is exactly the same. Unfortunately, your fight or flight response is the opposite kind of like nervous system response that you're looking for when you're trying to fall asleep, and hence when that is deployed at night, then you won't be able to sleep. This hyper arousal or like hyper vigilance is manifested in a few different ways. It can be anxiety, also like maybe physical symptoms like calmness of like the hands or like cold sweats or maybe a racing heartbeat. But I also want to say that hyperarousal isn't always anxiety. It's not always fear. It can also be like bewilderment or kind of like amazement that you can't sleep. It is simply that heightened state of the mind. Um, so, if you have been struggling with insomnia, hopefully that explanation of why or what insomnia truly is hopefully a little bit helpful for you.